Hello and welcome back to Leisha Online. My name's Leisha Toy and this is a space where I meet people from all walks of life who tell me their stories. I chat to people from charities to TV producers, and a lot of the time we discuss different issues through the lens of the arts, so I really hope that you enjoy. Welcome back to the Leisha Online podcast. You might recognise my next guest from TikTok. Welcome to the podcast, Clara.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem.
I'm so happy to be here.
Would you like to introduce yourself to the podcast?
Yes. My name's Clara Deehan. I am from a village called the Moy in Tyrone. I don't know if a lot of people would know of it or not, but
I think my listeners probably would know it.
yeah, okay, maybe fair enough.
The audience.
Always a good night out in the Moy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just do a wee bit of social media work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a master's at Queen's in international business. Yeah.
That's so exciting. And tell me about this TikTok journey that you've started, because when did you start posting on TikTok? You're doing so well.
Thank you so much. Do you know what? It's actually been crazy because I started posting in September.
That's crazy.
No, it has just kind of, and I'm so grateful because it has kind of like taken off in the best possible way. But because I was posting the odd video like from about May time. When I say I would have posted one in May and then one in August. And then I just kind of got consistent with it whenever I started my master's. I just thought it was a whole new chapter. I was like, why not?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been going really, really well.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
And tell me about taking that first step then to post your first TikTok, and like, was it kind of a conscious thing that you thought, right, I'm gonna actually put myself out here, or was it just something like just a bit of fun, or what was that like?
Do you know what? The very first video I posted on TikTok, I'll never forget the anxiety I had.
Yeah, TikTok is a scary place.
It's a scary place, and online is a scary place too, I think. But I would have always, like, if I was out for a run, like, I always would have had like a wee 0.5 video and like sent it to Ronan being like, out on a run.
Yeah.
And then there was one day that I just thought, you know what, like, why not? I'm just gonna put it on social media.
Yeah.
And I remember so distinctly, it was my brother's birthday and we had like a couple of things happening that day, and I was like, you know what, like, it's grand, we'll just start it. And then I just remember after that, you kind of got a lot of, I think, positive comments, and like people saying, oh, I love like your videos and stuff like that. Like even my friends text me being like, oh, you go girl.
Yeah.
It was really encouraging.
That's so nice when girls are supporting other girls, or like just anybody is supporting you when you're posting.
So honestly, it's so important, I think, because had I not maybe like had the right people behind me just being like, just you do you.
Yeah.
And I think too, you realise like nobody cares.
No one cares. And I think it's when you stop caring about what other people think, that's when you can really just like, for you even, like, you've just taken off, because you just put yourself out there, you're super confident, and everyone loves it and is resonating with it.
Oh, thank you. I think it's so funny because to be fair, no,
I don't know what you're gonna say.
I know. Goodness knows what I'm gonna come out with. But I think too, I always forget that people watch my videos. But if I'm posting something on TikTok now, like, and then somebody like that maybe you don't know will come up to you and be like, oh, I love that video, or like, that Tesco vlog was class. Yeah. You're like,
I actually forgot I did that.
Yeah, sometimes I just forget that like other people watch these things.
Yeah.
But I think like that's a healthy way, and I'm very lucky too. Like, as I said, like, it's been so positive. I know that I would be friendly with people, and like it can be such a scary place, and like you do get those comments and that, but I think it just comes with anything. But
social media is crazy in that sense as well, though, because you don't realize, like, I actually be talking to people sometimes and they'll like tell me, oh, I didn't realize that you were doing this or doing that. I'm like, how did they know that? And I'm like, oh, actually, I realized I post that on social media. That's obviously how they know it. But yeah, it's something like, I suppose there's like a fine line with social media. You have to just be careful about, like, sometimes like even how much you're sharing as well.
I think that is the hardest part, because there's so many things. Like at the start, it kind of started off as fun, and it still is, but then sometimes you feel obligated. If you're like doing something fun, you're like, oh, I should just vlog this, and then sometimes you can get caught up and not 100%. Enjoy the moment as much. And I think that being conscious about that is something that I've definitely like not had to work on as such, but something about me, I am so hard on myself at times too.
You are hard on yourself, yeah.
But I think it just comes sometimes too with as you say, like, you know yourself, whenever you're doing something and you're thinking, is that the best thing that I could do? Could I do that better?
Perfectionist.
Yeah, perfectionism, it kind of takes over. But it's definitely something I'm trying to kind of let go of and enjoy the moment more so than just always striving to have,
to be perfect. Yeah, and I think like it's such a thing with girls that girls struggle with as well. I suppose I don't know how boys feel about it, but definitely as women, like you always kind of feel like have to maybe like fit into a certain box, or like I have to be perfect, and then like we've got so much to kind of think about. So
exactly, and then even saying the right thing too.
Yeah,
so
especially on social media, it's like a cesspit, like honest to God. I like people having these opinions on TikTok. I'm like, I could not share my opinion on anything. It scares me like because people are so quick to judge, you know.
No, honestly, it's like anything controversial that's ever put in my comment section, I'm just like, delete.
Yeah, no,
because as you say, it's one of those places that I think as well, if somebody does ask you, it's just like a lose-lose situation.
And then tell me about, you know, your day in the life videos. Tell me about kind of like how you would maybe romanticize your own life, like doing like the little things, because even I don't really post that many little vlogs or anything, but I feel like when I do, I feel so much better about my day. So do you feel that like you romanticize the little things about your life, and like obviously it comes across well on video?
Yeah, like that romanticizing it is 100% the way to put it. Something that, well, I've spoke about it a wee bit on TikTok, but I done 3 years of a degree in law at Queen's, and when I graduated, I came out and worked in a law firm for a year. Now, mind you, I did think that I wanted to go to the bar and be a barrister.
Yeah.
And see now, doing my wee videos of making my coffee and going to university makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed the experience, the people that I worked with. It was fantastic. But I remember sitting in that job being like, if I have to do this the rest of my life, like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
It's stressful.
It was so difficult. And see now, like doing my days in the life and vlogs, as you say, you feel so much more productive. And even looking back on the memories, like,
yeah, I love that actually.
Oh, it's so nice. Like, even the way I love TikTok just saves it to your camera roll, and sometimes like it'll just come up and you're like, oh, I did that, and like that was so lovely, and even capturing all those moments. But so definitely it's something I really enjoy doing. Like, I love doing, because I'm just so thankful for where I am now, as opposed to like where I was. But I know I had to be there to get to here.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you're right. Like, I actually was last night, I went down a rabbit hole of looking through my own little like just videos and pictures of stuff I have. And I was like, wow, like it makes you appreciate, maybe in the moment you don't even see how much things you have to appreciate. And I was watching like a video I had of coming here and recording a podcast, and I was like, me 5 years ago, like I've heard a quote, and it's like, sometimes you're living in the dream that you've prayed for, and like you're always thinking towards the future, but this is something that a past version of you has already wanted, you know. Don't know if that makes sense, but
that is so true, honestly, because what you're saying, we get so caught up in the moment of being like, years ago you'd be so like, you'd be jumping up and down at the thought of this, and you've come so far as well, everything that you're doing.
Oh, thank you. It's fun. Yeah, no, but definitely, like, I think, like, obviously, I don't even think we haven't even said on the podcast, but obviously we know each other, we're friends from school, so it's like, it's so nice to see like people from school and like just your friends that you grew up with doing so well. I'm like so proud of everybody. I'm proud of you. So
I'm proud of you too. But as you say, like, I just think it's so crazy. If we could have told ourselves this in like first and second year.
I know, or even like in primary school we knew each other.
Oh my gosh, I know exactly.
Yeah,
going back crazy. To what was it? Going back to the score.
Yeah, oh my god, yes,
the score.
We've always been stars. We've always been performers.
Honestly, it was in the flash and
don't go and look for it. I always think about those things. I'm like, oh, there's no videos of those like scores or school plays or anything.
Like nothing. I never want it. Yeah. No, they don't exist.
I know. But then tell me about, because obviously you spoke there about like, you know, it did take you a few tries to see what exactly it was that the route you wanted to go down. And I feel like so many people are kind of going through that, and in this day and age it's really easy that you can, you know, change, because in the past like you'd be in a career and you could be in it for 40 years and people wouldn't have felt comfortable to kind of move out of it. So tell me about that journey and you deciding, you know, I want to take another path and do the masters.
What you're saying is so true. Like, I do remember going to mummy and daddy whenever I was looking at a master's options, and I sat down with them and I was like, I'm gonna go back to uni and do a master's, and my daddy was like, you've just done like a degree and you've worked for a year.
Yeah,
and
but education is good. Any kind of education is good.
That's exactly it. And daddy's a teacher, and he did say, he was like, you know what, you're going to be doing this job for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
You may as well. And what you're saying too, I think the culture at the minute of just being able to figure out if that's not for me, that's okay.
Mhm.
Like I can just go and do something else,
Mhm.
and that's great.
Mhm.
But no, I just remember having the realization of thinking, you know what? I need to go and do something different.
Mhm.
Law is just not for me.
Mhm.
As much as I really wanted it to be, I just knew for a fact that I wouldn't be overly.
Yeah, it wasn't for you, but that's okay as
Exactly.
well.
And this is so funny too. I don't know if you'll air this or not, but do you know what? I actually went to a fortune teller because I had a little like quarter life crisis. And do you know what? And I remember her saying to me, she was like, "You're gonna go back to school." And I remember thinking, I had just graduated
Yeah.
at this point, and I was like, "There's no way. There is absolutely
Mhm.
no way I'll be going back." And I do remember then whenever I had like applied for the course, and because I'd said it to mummy, and she was like, "That woman was right," and I was like, "That's scary."
Yeah.
But no, I
I need to
definitely.
talk to you after about who that is because I've got some crazy fortunes that have come true as well. Yeah.
It's
And my boyfriend as well has got some like crazy ones that have like come true, and it's like crazy things we never expected that would happen, and then like it's happened.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Leisha, I think that's so fascinating.
I
I
know.
love those, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
I had a woman, and she's like, you're gonna work in, well, she's like, you're gonna work in a war zone, like you're gonna work, and she's like, maybe not in the next 2 or 3 years, but in 10 years you'll be doing like political journalism in like a war zone. I'm like, God. So I'm like, wait, I'm like, anytime I'm like getting close to it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of scary.
Leisha.
But no, it's interesting. Like, I don't know about all of those kinds of things, but I do think that definitely there's some element of truth in some of the people's fortunes. So it's crazy, yeah.
Absolutely. I think they like light a spark of manifestation in you because you're like,
Exactly.
ooh, okay, I didn't think of that. Maybe that is a possibility.
But sometimes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They can tell you something, and then you think, oh, yeah, this could be my prophecy or whatever, and then you
Yeah.
kind of make it happen yourself. That's sometimes what I think, especially when you like someone is telling you it. But some of the things that we got a letter from a fortune teller, but we didn't look at it. It was actually like my boyfriend's mum got a letter about him. She got like fortune for him, and then we read it recently, and like all the stuff it said was gonna happen came true. So I know, I'll tell you about that after.
I love stuff like that. I
I
think there's so
know.
much comfort though too.
Yeah.
No, honestly, because I even remember this is so funny. Like my mummy's friend, she went to one. And it's so random. I don't know why it came up on hers, but she said my name, and this was like 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and she said my name, and she was like, Clara, good things to come for Clara, good things to come for Clara, and then she was like, Ronan. And at this point, like, he was never even like in the cards.
Seriously?
And then I said that to him, and he was like, no, I don't believe you. And I was like, I wouldn't have believed it either, only
Yeah.
that I knew. But she
Yeah.
said it to me, when was it? Whenever we had like we're officially going out or whatever, and she was like, I was rereading through this, and I was like, that's crazy. But I do think, as you said, there
Yeah.
is definitely an element of truth.
Yeah. And I actually, this is a funny story as well. I went to see a fortune teller, and my granny, she was always very anti fortune tellers and that kind of thing. And she passed away a couple of years ago, but like I didn't go to like it wasn't any intention to like speak to like
Yeah.
anybody like that, but it was just like a silly fortune thing. And they were like, your granny on your mum's side wants to tell you that she's very disappointed in you going to a fortune teller. I was like, what? But and then instantly I was like, well, I believe in you now because
Yeah.
that is so accurate, and I can nearly hear in my head saying that.
Saying like, why are you here?
Yeah, literally. But then, so for you, then you decided to do your masters, and then tell me about that now. So are you enjoying it?
I absolutely love it. I think that like everything happens for a reason. That is like my mantra.
Yeah.
And I know now, like, if stuff doesn't work out for me, I'm like, there's a reason behind that. And that is exactly what my master's was for me. I just think that it kind of like lit a spark under me as well to just like go and see what else is out there.
Yeah.
Now, did I ever think that I would be sitting thinking about like a career in business or marketing? Absolutely not. But here we are, and I just think that I love the culture at the minute where you can go and switch and change,
Yeah.
but I'm loving my master's.
Yeah.
And see even the people you meet along the way. Oh my word.
Yeah.
And the doors that it opens.
It's amazing, yeah.
So even like from an education perspective, although you do learn quite a bit, it's all about the networking and the people you meet.
That is so true, especially in my industry. Like I work in the media industry, and I work across like, you know, different aspects of media, but it's definitely like you could have a conversation with someone and you wouldn't even know that like they might have a job opportunity coming up. And like especially I think like I would encourage anybody who even wants to get into like media, and I'm probably sure as well marketing, like go to networking events, because you just don't know who you could meet. And there's
Yeah.
actually a really amazing woman in TV group now that has like recently started, and now like a lot of people are finding jobs from that, like meeting amazing people, like starting new projects. So I think it's just really interesting seeing, you know, just women kind of succeeding in the industries here in Northern Ireland.
Absolutely. And I think what you're saying is so true as well. The likes of those events are crucial, because it's fine if you're applying for a job and putting in an application, but you could be the best person for the job but not have, do you know what I mean? The best CV or whatever, and see all those like meeting other people and
Yeah.
oh, Alicia, yeah, it's crucial, I think, at the minute.
Because I think, yeah, when people read your CV, they don't actually get an understanding of who you are. I think it's so nice to meet somebody face to face, and like, and then you could even know, like, sometimes you could go into an interview yourself and think, you know, maybe that's not the right company for me. Like, I think sometimes it's really important to look at something and think, is this right for me, as well as do they want me? You have to think, do I want to work for them as well?
Exactly. And that's something I think that is not said, because even in uni, I think too, like you're almost scared into thinking, okay, I have to go for one of the big four, and like I just have to go and work there, and you know, I have to want them to want me, instead of going in and being like, you know what, this actually isn't for me.
Yeah.
And it's okay to feel that way. But what you're saying is so true. Like you need to kind of start thinking what is best for me, as opposed to.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so happy for you though that like you've made this choice and now you're like so happy. So it's good. And what's the next step then when you've finished? Do you have an idea? Are you maybe gonna do some traveling?
I definitely think traveling's on the cards.
That's exciting.
Oh, I'm so excited. I do think that I would love to go away, even for a year, and just see what it's like.
Yeah.
I've never lived away from home, so
it
that
can be
could
a shock. Have you never lived away from home?
No,
for
even
uni or nothing?
No. Well, like whenever I was doing my undergrad, it was COVID.
Oh yes.
And then there was so many different things going on, and I was like, you know what? Like I'm not that fussed on living down. Like that's fine. And then whenever I was doing my masters, it was something that I was like, maybe I should live down. And then Mummy was like, sure, why would you? And just save up for whenever you go away.
Yeah.
But I think it would be the biggest shock. Like even when
definitely
when Mummy and Daddy go away for a weekend, I'm like, come home.
Oh my god, yeah. Because I moved out at 18. Like I went like to Belfast. And that was it. Like I lived with like different friends for until I was like 21 or 22. Moved to London. Then I went traveling. So like I haven't really been at home for like a long. I haven't lived at home since I was 18. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I'm not gonna say how old I am now, but
but do you really enjoy it?
I loved it, but you know what? Like Belfast, living in Belfast is one thing, but living in London. So if you're thinking of going further afield, sometimes I'm like, I thought I would be fine with London because I was like, oh, I'm really independent. But there is such a even like a cultural difference. Like you mightn't even think it because it's just across the water, but the people are so different. Like Irish people, I think, are so friendly and accommodating, and I actually have a really vivid memory. I remember like I was working between Belfast and London, and I was getting a bus in Belfast, and I was talking to this wee old woman on the bus, and then another wee man sat beside me and he was talking to me, and then I flew into London that night and I was on the tube and just everybody had their head down and their headphones in. I was like, it's just such a different atmosphere.
I just think, yeah, it's like robots over there, or that's the way that it's perceived anyway.
Yeah.
And what is it they say too, when you're in London, it's just like 20 quid to leave the house, essentially.
100%. But then I think it's about like finding your people there too, because now like I really miss London. So it's like you have to, I think more so in London compared to home, you have to kind of go out and pursue meeting new people. Like I made like friends, even like Irish girls in London that I'm friends with now, or different like creative groups. So I think like you definitely have to pursue those kind of like different friendships, and it's interesting too to do that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I know, because then you have networks all over the show.
I know. Oh my god. I know. And tell me about your group then. You've started a running group called Front Runners.
Yes.
I'm excited to hear about this.
Oh, do you know what? It has honestly been the loveliest and best adventure. Because I actually I started running about 2 years ago, and genuinely it was to try and get myself in a bit of better shape physically. But it was also for my mental health.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, it genuinely is. Like that's, see, whenever I go out for a run, and it's so funny because I'm now training for Belfast Marathon, but whenever I was going out for long runs, it was literally just because I felt like there was a million thousand things going on in my head. And see, whenever you came home, like, don't get me wrong, didn't fix the problem or problems that you were dealing with, but it made them so much easier to just deal with and say they're not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But it was something I never thought I would get into. And I just thought, if somebody else, like, if this could work wonders for somebody else, especially in relation to mental health,
100%.
I just thought that why not share it and that. So we have a wee group called Front Runners at the minute, and there's girls there that started and had never run in their lives, and now we're doing our first 5K race on Sunday.
Oh my god! Oh really?
So it's so exciting. Like, honestly, the progress that everyone makes, and see, even going out, especially I think as women too.
Yeah.
I would mostly run during the day just because it suits me, like before a lecture or after a lecture and that. But I just think, especially in the evening time, to have the company to go out.
Oh, 100%.
And even meet new people as well. Like, it's so lovely. Like, after a race now on Sunday, we all were like, you know what, we'll all just go grab a coffee and we'll have such a lovely day of it. But no, it's been great, even for building friendships and that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I feel exactly what you said about the endorphins after running. I feel so good. Like, I was in a similar space to you. Like, I wanted to start running for my health, but also for my mind. I felt like sometimes I even used to feel like that in school when you'd come home and you'd be really stressed. You're like, I literally feel like I just want to run. And then you just get, I don't know, I even recently I've kind of taken up running again, and I find it really therapeutic. I must come down sometime and
absolutely,
go to the
we
group.
would love to
I
have
am
you.
in Belfast
I'll be
now, but
texting you. I'll be like, Felicia, anytime
if I'm
you're
at home, yeah.
But no, what you're saying, it's almost like an instinct whenever you do feel overwhelmed. Because I do remember the first time I went out for a run. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. Like, I went for a run like to the bottom of my road and back. You would have swore that I just climbed Everest. I came back and I was dying for days.
I have a story like this.
Do you know what? It is great because then you do see your progress. And as I say, I'm actually running Belfast Marathon for Macmillan Cancer Support. So
amazing.
just in respect of Granny and that, and how good the charity was to us whenever she was sick. But I'm so excited. It's just been such a lovely journey. Now, mind you, I always say after the marathon, probably will never run again.
No,
but
you couldn't
we'll
not.
see.
I think it becomes something that's like part of your routine then. Like, I actually remember you saying about just what you said there about running to the bottom of the lane or whatever and back. I remember doing that, like going down to the pitches like after lockdown, and I was like, I need to like get fit. Like, I need to just get out of this house. And it was a struggle. And I remember like somebody being like, Jesus, looks like you've run a marathon. I was like, oh my God. But then like my progress, I was able to go and do like 10Ks and stuff after that. Like it just shows if you commit to something, then like you'll be able to really see the benefits, and you mightn't even realize it. But if you start going to the gym and doing things regularly, you will start to see the improvements.
100%. And I just think, especially for like a personal growth journey too, like genuinely, I am the least athletic person you'll ever meet, ever. See the gym and that, like, I don't honestly
that.
No. But in terms of something like that, I just think tracking your progress and seeing how far you can come. And what I love about running is like, there's literally no strings attached, no nothing. You don't need any equipment, don't need a pair of running shoes, and you can go out, you come home. And like, I'm a very competitive person too at times, but the person you're competing with is yourself.
Yeah, it's perfect then.
It literally is, but I absolutely love it now.
And in terms of your group then, it is so nice for all of you to be able to go out together, and there's safety in numbers as well. But about that, tell me about kind of the friendships of that group and like how you've been able to really like curate that then. Because it seems like such a like safe space.
Do you know what? It is such a safe space. Like, that would be the right word for it, especially because I think in life we put on a face no matter what we're dealing with, and everything can seem fine up front, but see, whenever then like you're out running, I think it's like a therapy session. Like, some call it trauma bonding, but some of the girls, especially, like, I know over the past like couple of weeks, one of like the group members had like a bereavement in the family and stuff, and like she said, even just getting out and clearing the head can just be one of the best things. And I think that whenever you are out running, it just like, you just find that you could talk about anything and like absolutely anything at all. And some of the girls, there's two girls as well that they're really good friends, and they come down to that. And you know what? In fairness to them, they haven't missed a session. They're so good, and they come down together. And I think that it's their time in the week that they meet up, they drive down together, we run, and then they mightn't run together, but then we all like meet up again, and then they'll drive home and they'll just have a catch up and a chat.
Nice. Yeah, it's so nice for especially like women as well to have that space, especially when you're busy with work and different things, or even if you have kids and stuff as well. Like, you must be so busy, so like to have that time to just spend it on yourself and like
Yeah.
self-improvement, I suppose.
And it's incredible because even the diversity in the group in terms of like age, I think one of our youngest member, well, one would be about 17, 18. And then like my daddy, he started running in it, and he is so good.
Yeah.
Bless him, Leisha, because whenever I said about starting it up, he was like, you know what, something I want to do.
Yeah.
And he sets himself with personal goals every week. And even like seeing that, and like daddy, in fairness, he's gonna kill me for saying for his age. Not at all, Mark. But he really does. Like, it's just, I just love seeing what everybody else gets out of it.
Yeah. And I was going to say to you as well, can anybody then of any ability go to this? 'Cause
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh, I don't know what ability I'm at, you know?
No, do you know what? I think that it too, because like one of my friends, Kira, as well, like she is massive in her fitness and like half marathons and that as well. And like where we have it is one of those kind of groups where like you find that you fit in running with the same people
Because
each
you're,
week
yeah.
because of your ability, which is great. And then it literally is, as I say, some of the girls say that had never ran before, and now they're like confidently running 5Ks.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So
because I think sometimes people will look at running groups and be like, you know, maybe that's not for me because I'm not a runner. So it's nice to hear that like anybody can do it, because I know that would even stop me. Like in London, I was like, I don't want to go to a running group. I don't want to be, you know, I don't want everyone to run ahead of me. But obviously, like no one's going to do that. But it's nice to know that it's inclusive.
Exactly. And you know what? Because even whenever I was starting to think about front runners, and before I went down and like had done like the running like coaching courses and that too, I was thinking about like maybe I should just join a running group. And then I just, as you say, it can be so intimidating. And I know some of like the running groups have schedules, they have like routines that they follow, they have like training plans. I was like, it's not for me. We don't take it that serious.
Yeah, it's
so
not
I think
about
that was important.
Yeah.
And especially as you said, then it just encourages people to join.
Yeah, it's a community thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And we've been so lucky too. Like we've had some amazing sponsors as well.
Tell us about them.
Yeah, so Oat Co Superfuel have been so good and sent like bits out for like overnight oats and like energy bites and that there as well for the group, which is great too, because I suppose like it's great then that you can do that wee bit of advertising as well for the running group. And has like just the response to it has been phenomenal. So there might be some exciting things coming up for that, but we'll see. Hopefully during the summer.
That's so exciting.
But we've a few things up the sleeve.
And I've seen like obviously the TikTok is going really well. Didn't you receive like something from Be Perfect? Did I see that on TikTok?
Yeah.
Is that right?
So TikTok, the whole journey in itself has been like a whirlwind that I am so grateful for, and I absolutely love it. And see, definitely in terms of brands, so Be Perfect actually had reached out to me, and I'm now a Be Perfect ambassador. Use my code BP Clara. I'm only joking, but
no, use it.
But no, which has been phenomenal. And I'm actually going to my first event with them now, in the next couple of weeks, which is really exciting. So definitely something exciting with that. But even in terms of different opportunities with businesses and that and collabing, the world of like social media content creation though, somebody needs to write like a wee black book on it.
It's booming though, isn't it?
It's booming. And I think though too, there's so many unanswered questions as well, and it can be so hard at times, but as in like to work out like what's the right thing to do, and but it has been phenomenal, and it's just the amount of opportunities has been crazy. Like we have done so many amazing things. Like we even got like a wee gifted stay away, which was amazing. Like stuff like that, and you do it for the sake of enjoyment as well. Like I love what I do as well, but no.
And then how important do you feel is consistency with posting? Because you post quite frequently then, do you, on TikTok?
Some would argue not enough. see this comes into like playing on the fact that it comes down to what like you do and like how hard you are on yourself too at the same time, because I know last week I had a massive assignment due on Friday and so many different things happening, and I was like, I only posted 4 times this week. And to somebody else will be like, that's actually quite frequent. But whenever you're dealing with like the influencers on such a larger scale, like they're booming out content like
and so
4 or 5 times a day, which is amazing. And I just am like, where do you get the time?
Yeah, but how do you sit down and decide what you're going to post then? Because for me, I'm like, a video takes me so long to make because I'm like, I want to make it perfect. But then people say, like, there's no point because you have to just put out a load of content. Like, what do you think?
I think the algorithms can be so humbling because you could sit and you could put so much effort into a video. I've seen that myself, sitting editing a video for like 2 hours and it maybe not having the best like engagement or retention rate, and then I just post like something so impulsively and it does so well and you're like, huh, how does that make sense?
I know.
But I definitely try to keep things as real as possible. Like if you do follow me, I do try to keep everything upbeat, and that's kind of what I enjoy doing. And even it's so funny, people find enjoyment out of the most mundane things.
Yeah, watching other people do things is it's kind of fascinating watching how other people kind of approach day-to-day life. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I know myself, if somebody's making a video on how they make their coffee, I'm sat and I am like,
people
show
are
me.
nosy.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Absolutely. But I find now definitely the likes of my Tesco videos, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because
I love
everyone's
these.
like, everyone's like, more Tesco. I just forget that, but it's so funny, like me stacking shelves and everyone's like, keep posting these kind of videos.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely crazy in that sense. But I do try to keep, it's hard too to find in terms of like a balance between doing your own organic content and doing content for brands. I find is the hardest, because I know myself, if I see someone doing an awful lot of work with brands and like not posting what they would usually post, I'm just less engaged with the person. I'm like, as opposed to just doing what they do like on a daily basis.
Definitely. And you skip it, like even on a YouTube video, like if there's an ad, you're gonna skip it. Like what the better help ads and stuff, like no one's listening to that realistically. As much as entertaining as you might try and make it sound, it's not gonna be.
Exactly. Exactly. And something though too that I found has been so helpful, I got advice at the very start and they had said, like, if anybody ever reaches out to you, that's something that you wouldn't go and buy yourself or use yourself, or you wouldn't be excited, don't take the work just for the sake of taking work. And you know what, it's actually stood by me, because I know myself, like if you see people and like, as you say, no matter how hard they try and sell it, that they're just not, do you know what I mean? It's just not coming back. Or they're just not getting the best out of it or whatever. Not getting the best out of it. But I don't know. I just think that doing that and staying true to yourself is so important.
I think as well with social media, a lot of people are like, oh, well, everyone's like gonna like trying to be an influencer, or everybody's trying to be a podcaster, whatever. Like people have said that to me, like, why have you got a podcast? It's so oversaturated. But I do think there's space for everybody, because everybody is unique, and there's so many, you know, different personalities, especially coming out of the north. Even like there's so many different like amazing influencers coming out, but everyone's unique, so there is space for everybody, and it can happen overnight. Like with you, like you only started in September. It's amazing.
It has like been just so crazy, because I know I actually met up with one of the girls that I met off social media. That we had kind of knew each other through mutual friends. We went for coffee and we were chatting, and we were just like, you know what, sometimes too, because I know her journey has been similar in the sense of like she has just grown and grown and grown in the brands she's worked with, but like people can work for years, and it just kind of is too, I think, the luck of the algorithm. But I know what you're saying too, in terms of the market is so saturated with those kind of people. But then I always think too, and like, for example, if Anna Olivia never posted that video,
I know,
do you know what I mean?
She's like the case study.
She really is. She's just the champion for it at the minute. But I think what you're saying too, everybody brings something different, and it's so important. And see, I just think too, life is so short. Like, have no regrets. Post the video. Like, do what you want to do. And at the end of the day, who is really watching?
I know. And if they are watching that much, then like they need to go and like think about their own lives. You know, if they are
exactly
gonna be critiquing. But I think like my take on why everybody really resonates with you is your energy. You're so bubbly, and like I think it's like a breath of fresh air, because you are so positive, and like it's nice to see like you romanticizing, you know, your daily life. Then do you feel like, you know, positivity is a big part of your routine? Are you someone who, you know, practices gratitude and all that kind of stuff?
Honestly, I think more so now than ever. I spoke earlier about thinking that I had a quarter life crisis, but see now, I genuinely am just so grateful for where I am. I like wake up every morning and I am so thankful for like even just the people around me, and I think that is a massive thing in terms of like it's all about who you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have like cheerleaders in the back who are just like rooting you on, and it's so important too that you have to cheer on your team as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's reciprocated so well. And in terms of positivity, I'm such a glass half full kind of person. And I just think too, because I don't get me wrong, I've not always been this way.
Really?
Oh, in my undergrad, I was so negative. And I think, though, too, COVID had such a detrimental effect
Yeah.
on a lot of people. But I know for myself, like, I used to be the most, well, I would say that I was very confident in terms of, like, in school. I'm a qualified speech and drama teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I love public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
You know me, I love to get up and say
I
a wee poem on the
know.
stage.
I know.
And even, like, with being head girl in that. And then COVID hit, and I just became an introvert.
Yeah.
And I became so glass half empty.
I couldn't even imagine you like that.
I just don't know what it was, Leisha. I think too, just being so isolated. I know that I isolated myself a lot from like my friends and everything else, and I just got in such a pit. And then I remember coming out of it, and I had so many changes in my life. In my final year of university, I think was just the complete. It was going to be the making or breaking, and I'm so glad that it went the right way. And with taking up running,
Yeah.
definitely just kind of reinstated that with me. And I know myself sometimes too, if I'm ever feeling heavy, I'm like, okay, well, I haven't run, or I need to go do something, or you know what, I need to sit and actually practice gratitude, because I have so many amazing things and so many amazing people. And I just think, no, like, always thinking back to where I was now is such a reminder for me now to be like, you know what, nothing is that deep.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when you look at your life through a lens of gratitude, your perception of things can really, really change. I think being like a little bit easier on yourself as well. Like sometimes you can go so hard on yourself, but sometimes I'll have to, like, I could get myself down about like certain things, and then I'm like, "Do you know what? I'm not even gonna entertain that. I want to be in a positive
Yeah.
space. Like I want to, like, be nice to myself." And I think like when you start giving yourself compliments, like it's so easy to look at yourself in the mirror, or like even look at your life and think of all the negatives. But once you start seeing the positives and talking to yourself as if you would your family member or your best friend, like be nice to yourself. And I think then the world can feel that. And I'm a believer that what you put out will come back to you as well.
Leisha, what you're saying is so true. And see, that self-love is so important.
Yeah.
I remember listening to Annette Kelly, and she came out with a quote that said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." See, whenever you sit
So
down and
true.
think of that, and you have to think to yourself, you know what? Why am I comparing? I have so many amazing things, and I'm sat here, and you just have to count your blessings.
Yeah.
I'd say probably with yourself as well, gratitude and manifestation are a massive.
Yeah, I do. I have like a vision board.
Do
And
you?
yeah, me and one of my friends, Molly, you probably know, and we like
Yeah.
we like always talk about these kinds of things. Like from we were no age, I've always been very much a believer in like what you put out there will come back to you. I've never actually done like an episode about this, but like like I remember like even like what you were saying about like just getting down, especially in uni. Like I was studying broadcast production, and again, like people say in that market, especially like TV, the sector I work in, a lot of people would say, you know, TV's dying, you know, there's not that many jobs in TV. And I remember going, like, I think I was in second year of uni, it was the height of the pandemic, and I was thinking, like, I actually don't know what the future holds. And I remember, like, just feeling really negative about it. And I started running, as you said as well. And actually, I'll talk about my daddy because I know you said about yours. But I remember this is a bit of a tangent, but I remember my daddy when I was young, like, if I had any problems, he's like, you know, take yourself out for a run. And I used to think, what, like, that's such a silly thing to say, but it's so true.
Yeah.
And I would come back in from a run, and then I would just start to like think of basically things I was grateful for, and then I would write out things that I'd want. And I was like, I remember, this is like just going on a tangent about manifestation now, but I remember like I would go for walks with one of my friends who I lived with, and we would go and walk to the Titanic Quarter.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful TV studio, well, film studios, Titanic Studios in the Titanic Quarter.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would go and walk like around like ITV, Titanic Studios, around the Black Quarter in Belfast, and I would be like, I'm gonna work here. And at this point, like I had no I had no ties to the industry, nothing at all like that. And I wrote out like a sum of money that I was like, I'm gonna make this money this summer. This was like March time, and as I said, I had no ties to the industry, would like meditate on that every day and be like, right, this is what's going to happen. Then like everything started opening up again. I kind of forgot about it, but I had all of this list down, and I had like printed pictures out and put them in my little book. And then towards the end of that second year of uni, I got a really random call from someone calling from Titanic Studios, like a film that was going on there, and they offered me a job. And like at the end of the summer, I'd made like the sum that I wanted to like make that summer. So I really think there is a huge power, and that's like not the only story I have with that, but it's definitely like something. It's something that I'm interested in. I like read a lot about it. So
Alicia, that is crazy.
yeah,
But,
I've not shared
like,
that story before.
that is
actually, but
mental.
yeah, I mean, it could be a coincidence, but I don't think
No,
so.
no, definitely not.
Yeah.
And like, look at what you've done even as well. Like, you were over in Loose Women.
Yeah, and that was another like crazy, but also no time. Like I did that when I was younger. I did that in yeah. I've never actually talked about this. I did that when I was in school, but that was before obviously working in Titanic Studios. But that was again like completely like thrown into the dark, like trying to find work experience. And I
Just like your like usual work experience, like over on a set like that, as one does.
yeah, and I remember emailing the head of like daytime programming at ITV, and like now that I work in this industry, I'm like that is even crazy that that got to her desk because there's so many filters that filter out like random emails like that, and she was so lovely. Her name was Emma, I think, and I remember she completely random. I was like 16 or 17. She was like, "Yes, come over." And I remember telling my mum, and she was like, "That's not, that email couldn't be real. Like, we're not going to that." And I was like, "No, it's real." And we were like, "Okay." And we like checked it, like made sure that the email was real. And they were like, "No, we're genuine." Had a phone call and did that, and like went there for the week. So that was like great at the time. But then like I still had no ties to the industry. That was in London, but I'd no. That was kind of the end of that. That was just a really nice experience. But then yeah, then I moved to London after that, like years later. But yeah, I just think like what you put out there, and like I remember being 15, 16, telling people like I'm gonna be a journalist. I'm gonna work in media, and like, but I had no reason to think that that would come true. But you just have to
Oh,
do
I
it.
I always think too what you're saying. Like, see if you want something so badly and you really want to try it and do it. Like, I think if you want something
Yeah.
that badly, you'll make it happen for yourself. Well, within reason, obviously.
Yeah.
But like what you're saying, you're so focused on it and bit of manifestation and a awful lot of hard work, I'd say too. But like, and look at you now, you're thriving.
And do you believe in manifestation then?
Honestly, yeah.
Do
Like,
you?
I do believe. Um, me and one of my friends, we say this all the time. Like, we're just chatting, you know, as you do with a coffee, and you're like, "I'd love to do this."
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm manifesting it.
Yeah.
And then like you just kind of then, if it does happen or anything remotely,
Yeah.
then I'm the first to text like, manifested.
Yeah.
But no, that's honestly what I say all the time is manifestation. And like, if you're visual in your life in a certain way,
yeah.
I just think it helps definitely. And it's another reason of like being so positive and upbeat as well. If you're thinking about all this positive and upbeat stuff, you're just gonna have that energy to try and attain it.
And like, I mean, so many opportunities are coming to you. Tell me a bit about like you were even on that Northern Soul, is it? It was like an
Yes.
Instagram series. That was really interesting to see kind of local personalities, especially around like the Tyrone area. So tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, it was definitely something else we did in terms of like meeting other people. Had been really interested in that. And then we had a couple of good nights out as
Yeah.
well, which always helped. And I think too, being put in a situation like that, like I know we were doing interviews and that, and then some of the questions that come up, I think you learn so many interesting things about other people that you never knew about them before.
And it's good to say yes to these things and put yourself out there.
Yeah,
You've got nothing to
absolutely. Like
lose.
in terms of opportunities, as you say, especially here, like the amount of things you just have to kind of grab things as they come. But I know that is something different.
And then what would your advice be to somebody who's wanting to start on TikTok and doesn't know where to start? Like even like me, I've been saying for the last, honestly, like 3
Alicia.
years, being like, I need to start posting on TikTok.
Do you know what? I do think that I actually was down at an International Women's Day event. They asked me down as a guest speaker just in terms of like social media and the running club and that. And it was one of the questions that had came up, and that was about like how to just kind of start and get into it. And do you know what? It's gonna sound so kind of not that exciting at all, but I would just say, see if there is something that you have sitting in your drafts, or there's something you're so excited about or passionate about. Put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Because I just think, I know personally, if I never done that, I would never be in the position that I am now. And I just think, not even just through TikTok, but like TikTok has brought me opportunities that even within university and everything else, I just think that it all comes together. I think if there is something that you are wanting to do, and just do it for yourself. And I know it's so much easier saying that because it is really hard, especially posting like a talking video
Mm-hmm.
or a vlog or anything like that, because I know a lot of my friends, that's what they would say would be like, it's fine if you're posting, you know, like a dance or something that you don't have to be like overly
Yeah.
yourself in, or that isn't too long or whatever. But I don't know, you kind of do build a rapport with people as well.
Yeah.
And I think even like the amount of people that you meet through it, I would just say, yeah, if you're surrounding yourself with the right people and you're just like, you know what, I just want to give it a whirl,
Mm-hmm.
post the video, post the story, take baby steps, and
Yeah.
I guarantee you your friends will be your biggest cheerleaders.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of people, there may be that 1% that, but everyone always has something to say, no
Mhm.
matter what it is.
And what would your answer be to those people who are kind of negative? Because I think that would be my worry, especially with TikTok. Instagram seems like a more positive space than TikTok to me. I feel like TikTok can be
Really?
quite, well, I don't know. Well, but I just see a lot of like negativity on TikTok. So like, how do you deal with if you get negative comments? Is it just like delete, not worry about it, like just not think of, like just not give space to it?
I think the first time, my mum will tell you this story, it was really funny actually. But it's funny now, it wasn't at the time. But I got a really nasty comment under one of my videos, and I think that it was within my first couple of months of posting. Now, mind you, I had about like 900 followers at the time, and to me, this was just detrimental. I just remember being like, and I cried about it. Mummy was like, she couldn't have handled it better, and just had said to me, you're going to put yourself out there, and there is going to be people that have everything to say, and you know what you have to do? It's like water off a duck's back, because you're not remembering all of the lovely positive comments. You're remembering this one negative one from somebody you don't even know. And it's so true. And you know what? See now, I just, if there is anything, and that's what I do like about TikTok, in terms of like, you can just delete the comment. You can, and now mind you, sometimes, you know, you do get the odd like 1% of things that can be quite like a hard pill to swallow. But sometimes I think too, hurt people. And if somebody's leaving that negativity, I always just kind of sympathize too, being like, you know what, maybe they've got something going on.
And they don't know you, or like they don't know me. Like if any, like sometimes I'll get like, even though I don't really post that much, but sometimes you can get comments and I'm like, but they don't actually know anything about me. So like,
you're only getting one side of me, and that's the side that I post online, as opposed to like me standing in the kitchen like making dinner, do you know, like on a kind of on a deeper level. But I think it is really hard that you just cannot personalize anything. To be fair, working in Tesco has kind of been great in terms of not personalizing anything. And I do
I know, true, right now.
I work in the customer service desk, so like you do get enough. General public have to love them, they are humbling. But I do think that you do build such a thick skin. So I think that has helped, but you can't get caught up in that, because for that one person that maybe leaves something negative, there is 99 or 100 more people saying the complete opposite.
And you talked as well about your family and like the support that people have been giving you, like your friends. But talk to me a bit about, you know, your family and your mum and your dad. Like you said, like they're so supportive, and I know your parents, like they're lovely people. So like how has that been with them? Are they like, what's she doing? Like, this is so exciting.
Do you know what? I genuinely am so blessed with, mind you, we are not perfect in any sense, but my family,
no one's perfect.
Nobody is, but we, oh my gosh, they are just my biggest supporters. And like,
that's
I remember,
really nice.
Even whenever I did like started posting videos, and my daddy, bless him, like I'm the only person he follows on TikTok, and he just goes on, he's like, oh, repost, and he's like, show me how to do all this stuff. But they're so good, and like even in terms of like, if you need help with anything, and you're like, they're not afraid to step in. And especially mummy as well, like she's been so good, and like in anything that she sees, she's always sent me through, oh, I think this is a trend and you should try this. But I just am so lucky. And I think too, like especially with like your family, not with your family, but with anybody, I suppose, could be like, do you know what I mean? This is different or whatever. But my mummy and daddy are so good, and like even my brother Connor, they're all just so like positive and supportive. And
they're the core people that if you've got their support, that's when you feel like, oh, I can do this. Because once you've got your family's support, you know, then you know that you're on the right track.
100%. And you know what too? Say Ronan, my boyfriend, I genuinely he deserves a medal at this point. But he is like, I do think without his support, he is a massive part of why I feel so confident doing what I'm doing, because he is also somebody that would just be like, oh, you done amazing, or that was class.
It makes me really happy, you know, that you're so happy.
No, it goes such a long way whenever you're just so comfortable around the people that like do you know what I mean? That you're so close with, and they just think that it's a great thing, and they're seeing all like the things that are coming out of it for you and the opportunities, and they're behind you 100%. Because I know it is hard, like especially if like you are doing something, or like even as well, like I do feel bad because I try at times whenever like you're out on a date or you're out doing something, and I'm like, I don't want to have the phone out all the time,
Yeah.
like videoing or whatever.
But it's your thing now, like that's your, it's not your,
Yeah.
but it probably will become your job, you know, or like an aspect of it, so.
Definitely, but I think then too, it's just hard, it's exactly about finding the balance, but what you say, like just family and like friends and support as well, and like without that I would never be doing what I'm doing, genuinely. And I think that is the reason, and that is 100% the thing that gives you confidence.
Yeah, 100%. I think like those words of affirmation from the people around you, like even my boyfriend, like he and I've been like doing like different things for years, like vlogs, like podcasts, like even before like a podcast was really like 3-4 years ago, I was like doing a podcast, and he has always been like, I just support whatever it is that you want to do. And I do like musical theatre and stuff, like I'll do like little shows, you know, like even with like different groups, and he is just supportive. And I think like just that support, even from one person or one friend who notices what you're doing and is like, I like that can go such a long way for someone's confidence.
Absolutely, because I know too here, and I don't like to be negative about it. Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I don't like to be negative about it, but I do think here there is a thing as small town syndrome.
Oh yeah.
And I just really do think that, you know, especially it's fine like whenever there's somebody from maybe, I don't know, Tennessee in America watching your video that has no idea who you are, but whenever you're out walking the streets or whatever, but then again, as you say, if you have those people behind you that 100% will back you, then that's all you need.
Yeah, definitely. I've even seen that video of a girl, I think it went kind of viral, and she's like, why am I just so embarrassed by everything I do at home? I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes.
And it's like, oh my God, if I even go for a walk or I'm wearing something, I just feel so embarrassed. And I feel, especially since living in London, coming back home, you do feel like there is like that little bit of a mentality of like, oh, what are they doing? Because it's something different.
Yeah.
I do think that's changing as well, though, a little bit.
I think it is. I definitely think too, like, well, it is very controversial in terms of, I just think with the younger generation and that, and everyone is doing all these amazing and wonderful things. And I think the more that you see people that like you grew up with doing, and I know somebody that kind of, Olivia McVeigh was massive for me.
Yeah.
Good English woman.
Yeah.
And I remember whenever she was like posting at the very start, and especially about her journey as well.
And that was
like,
years ago.
That was years ago, with like the endo and everything as well. And she's just such a relatable person who has done so incredibly well. And I just think people like that are so inspiring. And I think that whenever you have the likes of Olivia, who lives like not even that far away from us at all, and local girls like that, seeing how well they're doing, it just kind of gives you that boost. And I think that now, as you say, more than ever, with everyone saying like, oh, like the social media industry is saturated, or media or whatever it might be, like all the more reason to kind of like put yourself out there and try. And I just think now everyone is so much more supportive. As they maybe would have been prior to COVID. I think that was kind of the turnaround.
Definitely. I remember that surge of people starting like small businesses, blogs. And I remember feeling so empowered, because like girls that I would have been friendly with were all like doing different things. I was like, okay, now I feel like I can do my thing. And I started a blog. Now I feel like not that many people read anymore. So like that was years ago now that I did that. But I would never have had the confidence to put myself out there before and said, this is mine that I've done on the side, because back then people weren't really doing things like that as much. But no, I completely agree. I think now is the time. I think if you're listening to this and you want to get into social media, I think you're an example, Clara, that like with hard work and in even a short amount of time, amazing things can happen. So well done. And
Thank you.
Finally, what can we see in the future for you? Like, what are the goals, like especially with front runners, and where can people find you for front runners if they want to get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Instagram, we have a page, frontrunners__. Or you can even just hit me a DM or a message. My handles are just Clara Deehan on both Instagram and TikTok. We've got some exciting things up the sleeve. I definitely think in the next couple of months anyway. Well, I'm doing something really exciting. I am through to the Tyrone Rose final selection process.
Oh
So
my god.
that is really exciting. It's something that I am super excited for. It's a show that I watched like growing up
Yeah.
from no age and religiously watch every year with mummy and daddy. So
That is perfect for
oh,
you.
I have imposter syndrome even showing up to like that, and I'm so excited. But even just the journey to get
Yeah.
to there so far will be enough for me, definitely.
Aw.
But in terms of that, that's something really, really
Yeah.
exciting. And then front runners, watch this space for the summertime, hopefully.
Aw.
There's a couple of exciting things coming. So
Aw.
but yeah, do you know what? As you said, just honestly, if I could just say one thing, just don't be afraid to put yourself out there, because you will have so many supporters and you'll get so much like love from it, and just don't have any regrets either.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. You honestly, I think your story is so inspiring. I think your energy is amazing, and I appreciate you coming all the way out here
Thank
to
you
film
so
with
much.
me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, of all people.
No, of course. You've been on my list for ages, but I've just been going through lots of different people now. So I've got a few exciting episodes coming out. Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
what can we expect from you,
yeah.
Alicia?
Oh, well, I've got a hair loss specialist coming out soon. Well, at this point that when this will come out, that will already be out.
Okay.
I've got a matcha brand that will be out as well. So yeah, go and listen to other episodes if you haven't already.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And thank you so much to anybody who is listening to the podcast. And as always, let me know if there's anybody that you would like me to get on. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.